So yeah, that's what I've been thinking about. One thing that I'm really proud of is I feel like I can also see how far I've come. Like, I feel like when I first got here, I was just this infant. Um, I couldn't speak the language. I didn't understand any social customs. I like would cry sometimes like an infant, and and then now I can see like, wow, I'm kind of like, I'm growing, I'm probably like an 8-year old now. Like, I know how to cook food for myself, and I know how the postal system works, and there's certain adult things that I've been invited to, like adult hangouts and dancing parties, I think they call them, or something. um, so yeah, that's been a really cool feeling of accomplishment to look back in from a year ago and realize like, oh my God, I didn't know any Ukrainian. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know where I would be, and here I am, not even a whole year later, and I already feel like pretty well adjusted. So yeah, and then in terms of culturally, I've been thinking just in terms of how satisfied I think people are, and I think that Ukraine is really a place where there are so many less opportunities than in America. But I would say that the feeling of satisfaction that people have is almost greater than in America, and I think it's because people take satisfaction from the very. It sounds cliche, but they really do take satisfaction from the simple things. Like they're very in tune with the seasons because that dictates when they plant and when they dig up things, and um, so like when it comes to winter and it's the only season that they don't have to work in the fields, uh, to literally survive and have enough food to eat, they're able to just really sit back and relax and enjoy, and yeah. So the things that are seemingly simple are actually like the backbone to these people's lives. So that's really cool to see that and experience that. And I feel like in America, you know, we have I think it's Maslow, right? Maslow has the triangle of where self actualization is at the top. And, everyone has their basic survival needs covered for without having to work too hard. Most people can put food on the table. They have shelter. Yeah, their basic physical needs of survival are met. And so people get stuck at the top where they're like, wondering what is my purpose and like how to self actualize oneself. But here in Ukraine, people are working for their physical needs. And so whatever's at the top, the self actualization, I think that happens, but it's, you're not stuck at the top. You're able to really like, focus on just the physical things. And that in and of itself brings a lot of, you know, self purpose and satisfaction and delicious food. um, so, yeah, those are my thoughts. I wrote some other things down. Let me make sure I at least touched on everything. Oh, yeah, the hardest part for me about being here. Um, yeah, the hardest thing about me being here is being homesick, hands down. I get really, really homesick for my family, for my friends, and just for places and familiarity and everything about home. And so um, it's really ironic too because sometimes after, I really crave communication and I don't have internet, but I actually appreciate that because it forces me to really be here and I'm much less distracted by what's going on at home. But when I do talk to someone from home, especially when I talk to my parents, I just feel like even sadder right after I get off the phone. It's like here, I'll do it this way, that way, it's the right way. It's like I'm going along, I'm like feeling, this is the intensity of homesickness, feeling really homesick, and then I finally get to talk to my parents when it's like right here, and then my feeling of homesickness shoots off the charts, but then afterwards it comes back down a little bit. So it's very much a roller coaster of emotions. And one thing I always have to remind myself is there's a very big difference between being homesick but actually wanting to go home and Of course, I would love to see my friends and family, but I don't actively want to come home right now. And I think that's a really good feeling because it means there's definitely an underlying feeling of contentedness about being here, that this is where I want to be right now and want to be doing with my life. And if I really truly wanted to go home, I would just I would just go, you know? But also I really miss home. So how do I cope with this? Well, I try and give myself a lot of little projects. Like if I'm feeling sad or lonely, I sometimes I'll just force myself to go talk to someone new, or like force myself to go over to someone's house where I feel like more part of a family. And it's been really nice lately too, getting to know some of the Ukrainians who actually work for Peace Corps. And just even this past weekend, I was with Volodya, who is the lead language specialist, and uh, he has two wonderful daughters. And I never would have thought I would say this, but when I see Volodya interact with his two daughters, it just warms my heart and makes me want to be a mother of my own. So Ukraine is having some very bizarre effects on my psychology, like my tenderness. Like, where is this coming from? So yeah, that was really nice. I also got some really good chess games in. Ate some delicious chili and mashed potatoes. And yeah, other things that I do, I'll just decide that, like, I'm gonna try sewing. So I had like a hole in the pocket of my jacket, and I feel like that's one thing I wouldn't take care of in the United States. Like that hole would get fixed by someone else, or it would just stay there. But here, I sewed it. I sewed it myself, and so these are little